The Huey dips and bucks, then rights itself and flies off as the pilot surfaces gasping. Cut to interior, MOTC, Thailand. Kirkhill looks like he hasn't slept in days as he stirs his 10,000th cup of machine coffee. Kirkhill says, "Well, what have you got him yet?" The tech commander reads the comment transcript. Tech says, actually no, it looks like he shot down one of their gunships. I love this part. Kirkhill replies, "Christ almighty." Tech returns with more news. "And then he took the other one." Kirkhill exploding. "What?" Tech, "He got it." Kirkhill sinks slowly into his chair. Exterior prison camp, Vietnam afternoon. Sergeant Tay is sitting on the steps of the guard barracks, looking a bit like a lost soul. The sound of a rotor gets louder. A shadow falls upon him. He looks up, squinting. A shape, an outline in the glare of the sun. Tay has a moment of apprehension. Then, exterior Rambo's Huey. Rambo unleashes the minigun. The left guard tower vanishes in a cloud of falling splinters as thunder rolls across the valley. A Huey pivots nimbly. The minigun roars again. An orange lightning bolt vaporizes the right tower. Various angles in camp. As the thunder fades, Tay starts to run. The prisoners dive for cover. 3 off-duty guards in the guard barracks go for their rifles. They don't make it. From Rambo's POV, looking out Rambo's eyes through the helicopter windshield, the guard barracks seems to disintegrate as the minigun sweeps across it, a shockwave of destruction behind which only flying kindling remains. He pivots a last time and annihilates the sentry post with a 1-second burst. 3 guards have managed to take cover behind a truck by the main gate. They begin firing. Low angle on Huey, a roaring silhouette in metallic mist. The minigun speaks. The truck is ripped like aluminum foil, shrapnel flying. The guards cease to exist. A spray of red mist and tattered scraps of uniform settles on the ground. It's all over in seconds. The Huey settles up to earth in the center of the compound. Tay, crouching, squints against the rotor blast. Wild-eyed Captain Vin steps from his partially collapsed office and raises his sidearm pistol. Tay snatches it from him with a terrified cry and an expression which says, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" The sergeant flings the pistol away and turns toward the Huey. Out of the boiling, blasting dust and smoke, a figure emerges. To Tay, Rambo is death incarnate. He is incredible. So here there seems to be like whereas Tay used to be the dominant one, especially if you read David Morrell's First Blood portrait, you could say that there's a lot more prequel stuff going on, just like in David Morrell's original First Blood, where Tay is the dominant and Rambo is the submissive. Now the roles are reversed. Now Tay sees what he's dealing with. He's come to understand that Rambo is the, like he says here, like James Cameron says here, to Tay, Rambo is death incarnate. He is encrusted with dried mud, dried blood, streaking with rivets of sweat. His eyes burn. Rambo has detached the door gun from its sling and the feed belt over one shoulder, carries it like a rifle. He motions with the muzzle. Tay and Vin flop forward, face to the earth, hands laced behind their heads. Rambo moves past them, eyeing the wreckage of the camp warily. You would think after all the history, not only in this script, but in the Rambo mythos between, like, all of Rambo and Tay's history, that he would have fucking killed them both right there. Anyway, Rambo moves past them, eyeing the wreckage of the camp warily. Interior isolation cell. Darkness. The door is kicked open and Rambo is there, silhouetted. Brewer is a sorry mess but alive. He raises his head, blinking. "God, you look awful." Rambo replies, "You coming?" Brewer tries to rise. "Hold your pantyhose, baby. Here, give me a hand." Rambo helps Brewer, who was nearly crippled with pain, to his feet and supports him as they exit. Exterior, camp courtyard. The 7 prisoners are helping one another into the copter as Rambo and Brewer hobble up. "Can you handle the door gun?" Brewer replies, "Duck soup." Tay and Vin are still face down, and DeFabio covers them with an AK-47 found in the rubble. Smoke swirls in the idling rotor wash as the barracks begins to burn. DeFabio says, "Am I dreaming this? This is not real, right?" to the guards. "I ought to grease you pricks, but, I've known you for too long." Rambo shouts to DeFabio. "Let's go, DeFabio, move it." When DeFabio is on board, crammed in with the others, in the main bay, Rambo remounts the M60 gun and jumps into the pilot seat. He brings up the RPMs. The turbines whine and increase. Brewer, crouched behind Rambo, yells forward. Brewer shouting, "We got company, you better pull some pitch, buddy." Behind them, diving out of the sun's glare, is Podolsky's massive assault helicopter. Rambo pops the Huey off the ground and runs hard at the tree line. The MIL-MI-24 nose gun begins firing, and the ground erupts behind the Huey, fountains of earth chasing it as it climbs out. At full climb, the laden Huey barely clears the trees, and Rambo immediately banks tight to get out of the nose gun's field of fire. The Soviet chopper tightens its arc, but swings wide, and Rambo spirals back. Brewer swings the door gun and gets off a long burst as the ground reels dizzily below and the horizon tilts. Rambo shouts to Brewer, "Brewer, you know what that thing's packing?" Brewer replies, "It's a Soviet MIL-MI-24. Probably 12.7mm nose cannon, heat-seeking rockets, and wire-guided missiles. Plus," Rambo says, "forget it." Rambo noses the Huey down, building speed. Tail high, it shoots across the treetops, its nose radio antenna ripping through the uppermost foliage. The Soviet copter rolls on its side in tight turn despite its bulk, twice the size and power of the Huey, and faster at the top end. The high-performance assault ship is a formidable opponent, but Rambo pits skill against technology, using the agility of the craft as his primary strategy. Angle back, past the dodging Huey as the Soviet ship falls in behind, steadily gaining. Past Brewer, who flinches as trees rush by seemingly inches away at 120 miles per hour. The POWs are flung against the bulkhead as the Huey plummets and swerves. DeFabio yells out, "I think I'm going to be sick." Interior Soviet chopper cockpit weapons bay. The pilot turns to Podolsky. "Pilot," Russian subtitled, "they're approaching the border. Should we notify the Laotian Air Force?" Podolsky driven in reply, "No, we'll take them ourselves." Inside the computerized weapons bay, the gunner hunches over the tracking screen. Rambo's Huey is shimmering blob, weaving behind a target reticle. The ranging radar emits a rhythmic pinging and increases in frequency. Exterior Soviet copter. 2 air-to-air rockets flash from support pylons on the stub wings and roar towards the Huey 200 meters ahead. Angle on Huey as the rockets skim past, missing them briefly to explode in the jungle. Over Rambo's shoulder, through the canopy as the Huey flies through the rising fireball. Rambo sees what he needs, a narrow river, a tributary of the CA, slicing through the rainforest. The Soviet juggernaut is gaining as Rambo dives gunship onto the deck, tearing down through an opening in the trees and skimming over the surface of the river. The Soviet craft cannot follow. The enormous trees from a canyon, the walls of which overhang the river. Rambo is actually zigzagging beneath the jungle canopy in places. They flash in and out of dense shadows. The landing skids throw up spurts of muddy water as the Huey banks. 2 more rockets arrow toward them. One explodes in a tree above, the other flashes past and hits the river ahead. They fly through a wall of spray. Brewer gives his rebel yell. "Yeah! Hell! This is just like fucking Star Wars, man. Devario, puzzled, turns to reply to Brewer. What's Star Wars? Brewer grins, realizing, slaps him on the shoulder. You're gonna love it, man. Rambo shouting. How much we got left in that minigun? Brewer opens the enormous ammunition canister. Pretty low. Couple of seconds worth. Rambo is plugged into some insane second sight, knowing the curves before they curve. He flies with absolute concentration. Interior Soviet cockpit. The pilot is sweating, trying to stay on Rambo's Huey. Pilot, we're in Laos, sir. Podolsky replies, I know that, to gunner. Fire all your rockets, take them down. Interior, exterior, Huey. As the forest explodes around them, the chopper is buffeted. The forward canopy is shattered by shrapnel. Rambo is hit in the shoulder and chest. So Rambo gets shot or hit by shrapnel in the shoulder and chest. His left arm broken above the elbow. One of the prisoners is moaning, holding his bloody forehead. Rambo pulls up on the collective, sending blinding pain through his arm. The Huey shoots up out of the jungle, spitting as it pops up. It slips sideways through the air, seemingly going out of control. Then it arcs back, rolling right at the camera. Interior Soviet cockpit. Podolsky watches Rambo's turn, realizing he has stood to fight. Podolsky, in Russian, subtitled, We've got him. The pilot stares apprehensively as the Huey comes at them. In the weapons bay, the tone of the ranging radar rises to a shriek. The gunner tenses to fire. Exterior Huey. Rambo throws the gunship sideways, and it climbs in one motion, bringing the minigun to bear. He is a samurai, and the Huey is his sword. Tight on Rambo, facing the Soviet Leviathan, clear-eyed in the voidway, as they say. It will be a battle of one stroke. He waits, feeling his breathing, feeling the ship like an extension of himself. Angle, the minigun blasts forth its stream of fire. On Rambo, watching, a shadow passes over him, wide, as the Soviet ship thunders over them and flies on. Angle, the barrel of the minigun continues to rotate, dry firing empty, clicking like an air ratchet. Angle on Soviet copter, showing the riddled glassless cockpit, the slumped bodies, wide, as the Mi-24 slowly brodies sideways and drops gracefully into the rainforest. So through the cockpit we can see Podolsky and everybody dead. It shears through the trees, breaking up, then explodes gloriously. Interior, Huey. Rambo is tensed, like 1,000 volts are flowing through him. Slowly he relaxes. He then knows they have made it. Brewer, excellent. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, tells Rambo. Rambo banks to Huey, ascending towards the mountain pass and beyond Thailand. Cut to exterior staging area, Thailand, day. Lifer lounges in the gun door of a Black Hawk as the ship sits at ready, turbine idling. Troutman, OS. Getting ready to go somewhere? Lifer turns to see Troutman step around the fuselage of the chopper. Hey, Colonel, you're not cleared to be on this base anymore, says Lifer, close on Troutman, quietly. I know. Cut to exterior Laos, near Moking River, dusk, D+ 60 hours. The battered Huey lumbers and dips over the terrain, barely in control. Interior, exterior Huey. Rambo seems drained of color, sunken into the seat, flying on nerve. Several of the prisoners are asleep. The wounded man's forehead has been bandaged. Brewer is holding court. Brewer says, and there's this guy with a black helmet and a cape, right? And he's got this sword, except it's not sword. It's like light.